Hello everyone, welcome back to League of Legends DFS Esports Breakdown, Slate, DraftKings, all the buzzwords. Go ahead and get started about recapping yesterday quickly. So, pretty uninteresting day overall. We did end up on the wrong side of one game. The other three I guess, kind of got right. Unfortunately, it was the one underdog game that we ended up being on the wrong side of. It was the quad favorites coming out on top. In the both of the leagues here. If we check out day 3 here, so LNG got the 2-0 over AL. This game actually was a little bit close, like I kind of anticipated. I do think AL is looking really strong. I was excited to see the second game specifically. They had a pretty interesting draft on the AL side. It was the first game, this split, where Forge has not been on Swain. That's going to be a pretty big comfort pick for them. It looks like Swain is very important for AL. LNG recognized it, and I don't think AL looked that bad without it. It was kind of interesting that they went from the Swain to the Yone pretty far apart in terms of what their job is. However, it was pretty good for both these teams. I honestly am pretty hyped for both of these teams. LNG looking pretty strong. I obviously don't want to toot my own horn saying that they're the best team in the league after 2 series. But I think it's possible, and I think they're looking good enough to be able to do so. AL, again, I think are pretty strong. I do think they're probably going to be top 10, maybe playoff team on the bottom end, of course. But they're actually looking pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with them through the first 2 series. I do think their team fighting and aggressiveness is pretty strong. Their ability to fight together is pretty crazy. They're probably like a top 5 team fighting team in the league. The problem is, one, drafting, especially this, what's the name of this champion? Why am I blinking? Callista. Callista, so bad, hate this champion, bane of my existence. If they drafted anything other than Callista in game 1, I do think they have a chance to win. But he just could not get into range to do anything against the LNG team comp. And then game 2, they just kind of fell behind pretty far, and their comp was a little scattered as well. They didn't seem to really have that much of a direction. So that's something to keep in mind. I do think they have a lot of upside, and I'm looking forward to continuing to smash AL. I think their prices are continuously pretty disrespectful, so I'm interested to see who they play next, but I'm pretty excited for both of these teams going forward. In the next series, TT versus V5. So V5 got those 2 come from behind victories. You could argue that these are pretty undeserving overall. They had 7 kills in this victory against TT. It came down to like 1 dragon fight, and they kind of just wiped them, pushed, and ended. V5 did not look good, but I don't think TT looked that bad either. So again, this is a spot where I'm probably going to be a little bit hesitant on V5, but it's going to be pretty price dependent on them. I don't know how much respect they're going to be receiving, but people who scoreboard watch are probably just going to see V5 2-0. They did not look good in this series at all. They definitely should have. You could argue TT definitely would have won both of these games if they were just like a little bit better. TT were a good bit ahead in both of these games. They definitely did not play well enough to win. Like, obviously, if you end up losing like this, then it's pretty deserved. But V5 didn't play well enough to deserve the win either, in my opinion. So not very high on V5. I do think TT is probably going to be a little bit underrated, but they're going to be pretty price dependent as well for me. I'm not loving them, but it'll be interesting to see how priced they are. So yeah, that'll be it for the LPL. Overall, nothing too interesting. 2 big favorites got the 2-0s. LCK day 1, Quang Dong, the LCK, I could do like a whole another rant on this, but the state of the LCK is fucking terrible. I don't know if I've ever cursed on this channel. I never made a point of it, but it is fucking awful watching these LCK games. Holy shit. I've never seen a state of the LCK that was this absolutely boring, terrible gameplay. The state of the LCK at the moment is really fucking bad. Like, I'm mind blown at what the fuck is happening in these games. first series, Hanwa versus Quang Dong, these teams look so bad, just so bad, man. And I have no idea what they're doing at any point. The only thing saving grace from Quang Dong was that Teddy was actually playing well in games 1 and 3. And that is it. That is the only saving grace that they had from this whole series. Hanwa looked terrible. Quang Dong did not look good either. Do not get me started on this DRX. No, look at the average game time of these series also, by the way. 38 minutes, 39 minutes, 32 minutes, 47 and 42 minutes. That's like an average game time of like 38 minutes. If we look in the LPL, it's like 31. It's like an extra 7 minutes of a game on these LCK games. It is fucking disgraceful. It is so bad in the LCK at the moment. The scores actually did end up being like somewhat decent. You know, if you get enough CS and maybe the fights continue to go on and on. Overall, the DK scores are not terrible. I'm not going to like X them out quite yet or anything like that. But holy dude, the state of this is sad. I'm not even exaggerating. And then this last one, Nongshim DRX. So sorry if I'm going on this extra tangent here, but holy fuck, man. The fact that Nongshim lost this series is absolutely mind-blowing. They had such huge advantages in both game 1 and 2. I have no clue how they lost them. They had Dragon Soul and Elder Dragon. Both of these things have like 90% win rates, and they had them both and they lost. What is happening here, man? Like, what is going on? These people are not this bad. Kana, Dread, BDD, Ghost, Effort. The players are not this bad. What are they doing? And then game 2, they were ahead most of the game, like a good bit. Kana has no idea how to use Sion. I don't know what he's doing on Sion. What is he doing from Gangplank to Sion? He does two wildly different playstyles. Like, it's cool that he has a flexibility apparently. Not on tanks. I'm just going to say it right now. Do not put Kana on tanks. If I see him picking tanks continuously, I am not going with his Nongshim team again. Azir, back in meta, only in the LCK apparently, because every other region has started playing and there's no Azir, but it's here in the LCK. Scaling everywhere. What is happening in the LCK? What the fuck? What is happening? Why are these games going 40 minutes? What are these coaches doing where these teams can get away with this? If we look at this game 2 draft from Nongshim DRX, how does Nongshim not just oppress bottom lane so hard and then get Dragon Soul and end the game in 30 minutes? I don't understand how this happens. How do they get to a 41-minute game when DRX has no lane control or lane prio at all? Ornn, Azir, Senna, Tahm Kench should not be able to leave lane, and then they pick Kindred to go with it, and Kindred needs an aggressive lane partners to be able to invade, get her marks, and get stacked. How on earth is DRX allowed to play like this? It blows my mind. I have never seen such a bad, egregious gameplay so consistently from an entire league, an entire day. All 5 of these games I watched, unfortunately, I wish I could take my 4 hours back, but holy shit, man. Like, these are terrible teams. These are terrible games. Hopefully it's just like day 1 jitters or something, but it's summer split. Like, what on earth? What is happening? What is happening? We're gonna need to see some improvements here from some of these good teams, or this is gonna get real bad. Nongshim, I don't even know if I got to my main point here, but Nongshim should never have lost either of these games in any scenario. Game 2, I think they had like a 12,000 gold lead. I wish I could see the gold graph somewhere. Stats graph? Nope, I don't know. I wish there was I think there is a link somewhere, but I don't know where it is. I'll try to pull up on my second monitor, but the gold graph from this game is so terrible. I just mean, like, dude. Let's see. Nope, I can't find it anywhere. LCK gold graph, maybe something like that. Latest 27th. Nope. I can't find it anywhere. But like, dude, I have no idea what is happening in the LCK. I mean, at the end of the day, all the favorites won, so it's not like there's unexpected per se. But Nongshim, their ability to lose both of these games is deeply, deeply concerning. I had them tiered as the fourth best team in the league. they, the state of the league, they might still be the fourth best team, but how do they lost these two games is absolutely beyond me. They should never be losing either of these games at any point. And the fact that DRX can draft this unhinged, just blind pick, no concern, no thought at all, just pick scaling, do nothing, have the other team do nothing for some reason, and then just win the game. It is absolutely beyond me. Such a low level going on in the LCK. I am so tilted from this still. 14 hours later, I cannot believe what is happening in this league. So, I don't know. Sorry for ranting the entire first 10 minutes of the video, but I cannot believe what is happening. There. We can move ahead. Go ahead. Let's look at the LPL lineups for tomorrow. First up, OMG Cream is not here. I personally have not been able to find out or see what's going on with Cream, but this is a pretty big hindrance for this team. I do think he's one of the strongest players, in the mid lane and the most important player for OMG. That said, I still like going on this side. I don't think people are going to go to OMG. I think people are going to look at Cream being gone and probably undersell the rest of the team. I still think RA is really bad. I still think, specifically the bottom lane, I think iBoy and Yuyanja are severely outclassed. They might legitimately be the worst bottom lane in the league, in my opinion. I think Leon is pretty outclassed by Aki. I do think Shanji versus Cube are two actually pretty strong top laners. I think mid lane's maybe a little bit of a wash, maybe a favor towards Strive, because I don't think 009 has played in the LPL yet. So I'm still just gonna buy OMG here. This is simply just a kind of a fade on RA. I simply do not think RA is good. If you look at the odds are actually not that bad for RA. Like, in complete honesty, I don't think RA minus 130 is that terrible, because I do think, granted, with OMG not having Cream, I think the fact that they played with Cream in the first series and now they don't have Cream is pretty problematic. That means that they have not been practicing with 009, and that they have they plan on just using Cream, but apparently I would guess, based off of the scenario, that Cream probably had gotten COVID or something like that, and so I'm not sure, but that would be my guess. But something's going on with Cream. He's not here. He's not playing. I can't imagine it's something else other than like maybe he's sick or something, and they're not able to let him play. But I don't think OMG have been practicing without Cream, so it seems like an impulse decision that's unfortunately being have to be made by OMG. So that does hinder them a good bit, but I'm still just fading RA. I'm fading RA super hard for a good bit until they show me something otherwise. So I'm just going OMG here. This is more of just an RA fade than it is I love OMG without Cream. I think this is pretty problematic, but I'm just going to go with OMG, the underdog, even money against RA. Next up, Ultra Prime BLG. This one's pretty interesting. I think BLG are pretty big favorites, minus 260 versus plus 190 Ultra Prime. So we do take a quick look at like how these teams started. BLG ended up losing in a close one to LNG, so not a lot of hindrance there. However, Ultra Prime I think did look pretty good in their game. Yeah, they 2-0'd OMG, and they looked pretty strong in the series, so I think there's a real chance that these teams are about similarly skilled. I do think in my head BLG is probably like around like a 4th to 7th place team, and I think Ultra Prime is probably in the like similar to the AL range of probably like a 7 to 10. So I don't think these teams are wildly different from each other. However, I'm still just going to lean towards BLG. I think they actually looked pretty strong in game 1 or in the first series. And I think maybe Ultra Prime is going to get a little bit overlooked or a little bit overvalued, maybe. I'm not sure, but I still think BLG is a good bit better, and I'm not buying Ultra Prime just because of their top lane change that quickly. I do like Ultra Prime again. Like I do think they're in that 7 to 10 range. There's going to be a good amount of winnable matchups for them. This is one of them. I do think if you wanted to go Ultra Prime against BLG here, I don't think the price is that crazy. You're getting Ultra Prime plus 190. That's definitely fair. If you are leaning that side. However, I'm just going to still slightly lean towards BLG as the better team. I love the individual players from BLG. Although I'd prefer Breathe over Bin. I still think Fofo, Doggo, Crisp, slightly Weiwei. I think Weiwei's a little weak in the jungle role, but Everyone else for BLG is pretty strong individually. I think they're pretty similar teams, except BLG are just kind of better everywhere. And that's kind of just my view on this one. So now if we look over to the LCK, we have two really big favorites. I don't think there's anything much to be had here. Jinji minus 485, Damwon minus 600, Fred Brion plus 375 against Damwon, and then KT Roaster against Jinji plus 320. Off the bat, I'm just going to go ahead and X out Damwon against Fred Brion. Fred Brion, we know their pace that they play is absolutely insufferable, and the meta that the league is in now is also the same. So I'm just gonna not touch these Fred Brion games until they show something. If we know Fred Brion's like one of the slowest teams in the entire world and the meta's even slower, I could see Damwon winning these games in single digits, and I'm not gonna be a part of that at all. Jinji KT, there's possibilities here. We'll look at the stats. So we look at LPL Spring, and then we'll bring up the LCK Spring as well. Why am I blanking on where they are? Are they at the top? Nope. I'll just do this. Probably would have been easier. Oh, now my mouse is dead. My apologies. 1 second. I have to plug in my mouse. Very professional production we have here. Okay, 12-4, and then we'll just go 12-4 to 12-5 here. So the tail end of the splits, or spring splits for both of the leagues. For here we have Rare Atom, oh my god, BLG and Ultra Prime. And then over in the LCK, we could put in like Damwon, Fred Brion, KT, and then Jinji. But as you guys can see, Damwon and Fred Brion, the pace that these two are at is just unbearable. I'm not going to have these people in at all. Then we could look at, KT's actually pretty aggressive, so is Jinji. I definitely think Jinji's a viable option. If we look at the pricing, they're actually pretty cheap. I think they're definitely a viable team to get a piece of. However, they're just kind of in like an awkward pricing spot where like they're not that much cheaper than BLG, and you'd probably just want to go to BLG, but maybe if there's a little bit of ownership. Actually, I think LCK's actually been a little bit overowned lately, so I'd personally look to go more towards the OMG BLG stack and maybe leave Jinji, because I think specifically single entry or cash games, like people stack up these LCK teams pretty heavily because they're typically like underpriced. I don't think Jinji is crazy for sure. Like they definitely are a viable option. Like they're not bad at this price. However, I'd prefer just get to BLG and OMG. It's kind of what it comes down to here for me. If we do look over in the LPL, OMG, Ultra Prime, BLG play at pretty decent pace, especially this OMG Ultra Prime one. They're not playing each other, so it'd be RA's pretty slow, BLG's pretty slow, but overall I would still favor the LCK or the LPL. The LPL meta is definitely much different, so I'm definitely just gonna be leaning that way. I like BLG, I like OMG. I don't think you have to X out Jinji, especially if we look at the players. I think specifically if we look at players like Chovy and Doran, maybe Peanut. Honestly, a lot of these Jinji players have pretty decent numbers, so we'll look at the numbers for the players. But I'm not gonna say any of these games are particularly needed. I think they're all pretty equal, so I'm just gonna leave them in as all three are viable. We'll keep in mind I'll go with OMG, BLG, and Jinji, and then we'll just look at the players and see if we get anything from there. So we'll put this in here to compare across the league. OMG, BLG, and Jinji, and this is the whole of the split, spring split. So it's not the most like up to date or greatest sample size, but it is some sample, and we can look at that. So kill participation above 70 is pretty good, I think, and that's the only player is Chovy. Then we have Doggo, Crisp, Peanut, Aki, Fofo, Weiwei. Then we go down to Able, Ruler, Cream, Cold. Shanji's not that great. We'll go position by position here, just because it's a little bit cluttered with substitutes. So for top lane, Shanji, Doran, and Breathe, but however, we know it's Bin now, so we don't know too much about BLG's top laner here now that Bin is here. But all top laners are viable. There is probably a rare scenario here where double top laners are fine, but that's pretty risky stuff. That's only if you wanted to go double favorites with BLG and Jinji. I think if you did want to do that, then that's viable. Maybe a nice way to get unique in like a 5-man winner take all or something like that. Going with the double top laners of BLG and Jinji, that's probably not a bad option. But I think Shanji would probably be the best option here for me. For junglers, all about the same. Nothing stands out really. These are all jeez, I messed up every word there. These are all insane, like really close stats. So all of them are fine. If you want to get double junglers here, that's fine as well. They're all viable. It's just kind of whoever you're stacking with. For mid laners, Chovy does separate himself. His kill share and kill participation are a good bit above everyone else's. Fofos and Creams are pretty decent. I definitely would consider them both viable. However, we know it's going to be 009 in the mid lane, and he's actually pretty cheap. It's 6,600 for a mid laner there for 009. So that's an option you could go to for sure. We don't know that much about him. We could look and quickly check his champion pool and see if he has good champions that are beneficial. We know things that roam pretty heavy, like Twisted Fate, for example, are decent. So we'll look at his champion pool, see if he gets in stuff. From EDG Youth, he looks like he played a lot of Ahri, Silas, some Karma, TF, Ori, Rise, Karma. So he looks like he plays pretty team oriented stuff. So I would think this is a pretty decent selection. I think 009 is a pretty good pick here. His stat champions look pretty decent. His stats are actually looking pretty good. He does look to be a little bit more supportive, so I wouldn't go crazy on him making up the kills like maybe I think Cream could. He looks like he's probably more of somebody you hope to get in your stacks as a 10 assist getter and go from there. So definitely viable. I think all mid laners are fine. Chovy, Fofo, and 009 are fine. For ADs, I think there's nothing separating them too much. Doggo, Able, and Ruler, all very similar stats in all departments. I don't think there's anything that separates them. I would maybe slightly lean towards Doggo, but they're all pretty viable as well. And for supports, I think it's exactly the same. Again, Crisp is slightly above everyone else, and then there's Cold and Lehens down here. That's another thing with OMG. They're bringing back Cold. I forgot they played Jerry at support. Huh. I don't know. That definitely is concerning. For sure. Like honestly, if I was a little bit more objective, I would definitely think RA's number is not that bad at -130 here against OMG. Considering OMG are swapping out their mid laner and their support, which is arguably the two of the top 3 more important roles. I think top and AD are pretty unimportant when it comes to winning games. I think jungle, mid, and support are very important, and the fact that they're losing Cream, bringing in 009, and they tried out Jerry, and now they're going back to Cold. That's pretty concerning overall. So again, another kind of point in the column of RA, but I'm just gonna bite the bullet and go with OMG. I really do not care. It would take a lot for me to get away from to get onto OMG here, just because I'm fading them that hard. So that's something to keep in mind. But as I was talking about for support, Crisp is a little bit above everyone else, and then Cold and Lehens are kind of a little bit below. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. When it comes down to pick players, getting that sweep bonus is pretty nice, especially for like the supports and stuff. So maybe you do want to try to get up to Lehens or Crisp as opposed to somebody like Cold. But Cold is pretty cheap at 4,800. So possibilities are open there. But I'm gonna leave this one pretty open for you guys. Honestly, this one's pretty tough. I'm not loving too much. I do like BLG. I like OMG. I like Jinji. I like all the teams that end with G today. That's going to be it. I'm probably going to make a couple lineups, mix and match these. I'm not sure how my approach is going to be building, but those are the three options that I like, and that'll be it for me today. So best luck to you guys, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Should be another interesting 4-gamer, I believe, but pretty interesting. So yeah, that'll be it, and I will see you guys tomorrow.